Hello, everyone. This is Sean Broccoli here, and today we're going to be doing episode 3 of Disgaea 4 complete. So, with that, we will just get started with the first cutscene.
Hey, so what are we gonna do now? The prisoners are coming to get us, right?
It's none of your business, so stay out of it. Just lie down and sleep here. Forever.
This is totally my business. This is my dream. So, what's the plan?
There's only one thing to do. We must defeat that pseudo-warden and stand up for the real warden who fought with us and died honorably.
I didn't even stop to think that the warden might actually be alive and is planning to get revenge on us. His undemon-like, undoubting heart is also one of Lord Valvatore's formidable powers. In any case, whether he's real or fake, he certainly has the support of some hidden force behind him.
Indeed. Only the President would be able to grant such a prize as pardons to prisoners of Hades.
I concur. Could the power behind him possibly be...
Who is it? Tell me!
We must plan accordingly.
Episode 3.
There they are! Let's kill them and get out of here! I can't believe I can win my freedom just by killing those weak-looking fools! Let's kill those biatches! Kill, kill, and kill!
Damn, do you hear how they keep saying kill? It's very prisoner of Hades-like.
That's precisely what they are. If you keep acting like you're in a dream, you're going to get yourself killed. Not that I care.
I'm putting an end to your depraved and insolent ways. I'll get rid of you and finally clear myself of everything you blamed on me.
Show your face to us. You fake wannabe warden, Axel!
You idiot! Do you really think there could be two people who look as stunning as I do in the universe?
What? You're real? Why are you fighting us? Have you forgotten the days we used to scramble around the battlefield together? We're comrades! Who watched your back?
You're not my comrade! You can't just sugarcoat your memories of me like that! Fate has made us enemies. There's only one person I can consider to be my comrade. The son of the President! His name is Sir Death Emiso.
I'll finish you off this time, you impudent printing instructor! What's everyone's problem? Why do you all look so damn disappointed?
I guess I didn't hide it well enough. Then I apologize, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. I guess I was expecting a crazier twist.
Your apologies are pissing me off even more!
Anyway, you two are surely exceeding your authoritative powers by promising to give these prisoners pardons. I find it very hard to believe that failures like you were entrusted with such power by the corruptimate. What do you say about that?
Huh? Well?
Failures? That's not how they acted in front of us!
But they don't look like they can actually grant us pardons.
Did they?
No, no way! You will be granted pardons! It's an official promise by Sir Measle, the president's son. Don't listen to him.
Hey, Warden, are you sure we should really promise them that without my pop's consent?
Everything will work out fine. Listen, there's going to be those rules. I'm sure your father will approve the pardons to reward them for stopping the anarchists. Your rep will be restored, and you'll probably even get a promotion.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, let's do it. As our president's only son, I promise that you will be pardoned. Now go put down those anarchists.
Guess that wasn't enough to dissuade them. These two seem rather determined to do this.
You won't be able to open that smart-ass mouth of yours for much longer. Although their powers are restricted here, these prisoners are the most brutal criminals in the Netherworld. You guys are history.
Fighting against a former comrade. What irony. However, you leave me no choice. I will simply have to give you a sound and decisive beating.
That didn't take much persuading. Besides, you were the only one who was rambling about being comrades and whatnot.
And thus, Hades' most epic battle was underway. This battle developed into a significant event that eventually altered the very future and destiny of the Netherworld.
Alright, so now we're on to stage 1 of episode 3. Now this stage is going to be a bit different from all the other ones that you're used to. For this one, you're going to want to keep within that original square. In that blue box, you get a 50% damage bonus. And obviously, if the enemies get into there, they'll get the bonus as well. So you want to kind of avoid that. So obviously, you want to put your guys along the edges, kind of prevent them from getting on. And then you want them to come to you, and you want to pick them off as they come close to you. So I'm sort of gonna do that in this video. I do get a bit more aggressive as the enemies dwindle down. You can start getting more aggressive, but right off the bat, you kind of want to deal with a small number as possible, and always make sure that you have your healer available. There are a bunch of enemies that are weak to fire here, so Red Skull will be very useful here as well. So right now I'm just getting set up while we wait for that to complete. At this point, this is probably where you're going to want to do your first reincarnation. I'll probably put together a video on the reincarnation process and I guess all the steps to do it, and with the video of which stages to use to level up. I think I mentioned that in the earlier in the episode 2 video. So I'll do that, and then I'll either put it at the end of the video as one of the I don't know what they're called, the video cards, or I'll just put the link in the description. So at this point, I've ended the turn and all the enemies came towards me. So now we're going to try and pick them off as quickly as we can. As you can see further on, there's 6 more enemies, or actually probably 5. 2 gargoyles and I don't know what those other things called, but they're like pigs with clubs. We'll just call them that. Then you got the gunner and the bug, the far right. So they're not gonna move too quickly. The gunner will probably shoot at you, but for now we'll just focus on what's around us. Once we clear out these guys, then we can start moving forward. Because the other characters mostly won't move unless we start moving. But at that point, we would have dwindled the numbers down to a decent amount. Now, the one thing worth noting is you can also send somebody, if you look to, I guess now it's the bottom of the screen, the bottom left corner, you can see there's a gunner down by the green geoblock. I kind of forget about her all down there for a while, so you can actually send somebody towards her and take her out. She's not going to be too much of a threat. She'll probably damage you as you get close to her, but once you get in front of her, you can do much more damage to her than she can do to you. And like before, I do recommend you have characters with the spears. They give you a little bit of breathing room. You can attack from a distance as well with them. So if they're one square away from you, you can probably still attack them. You can also attack them when enemies are diagonal to you as well, which is a good bonus. I'm not too familiar with all the aspects of the weapons, but I feel like spears are far superior to anything else in this game. So I've pretty much cleared out most of the enemies. I think there's just the two bug creatures, I guess one now. This sardine thief took it out. The other one is moving closer, so we'll just start taking them out. We don't really need to focus on that one that's far away. You can just send one guy over there to take care of him. Maybe two. I do have to take into account that I'm a couple levels higher than it. So once we finish off that last flying enemy, what we'll want to do is we're gonna split our forces. We'll kind of take, actually maybe not split them, but send 3 people to the left towards the gunner and the pig with the club and the red geoblock. Have them take out those enemies, and then the rest of them you can send towards the other 2 pigs and gargoyles. And then if you can't see them right now, but there's 2 I think they're cheetahs with axes up at the top as well. So you want to leave those 2 for last. Now the one thing I might, the purple geoblock, it says move +1. I'm not 100% sure what that means. It could mean that you get an extra attack, or it could just mean you get an extra square when you're, if you're moving, you can move an extra square. So that's worth, keeping that in mind. The other thing is make sure to kind of take advantage of your campaign map thing. There are quite a few bonuses you can get through that are quite useful. Like the one that you'll start off with during the tutorial will give you extra mana for anybody in for the characters that you add in there, and then there's a bunch of other ones that have other bonuses. There's a training one that you can put your lower level guys in, and they'll get 10% of experience anytime that I think somebody in there gets a kill. And, off the top of my head, I can't remember any of the other ones. I know there's a protection one, but I've never actually used it. And there's going to be a moment in this one where you're going to need to go to the item world. So that'll, I think that should be unlocked by now. But what you need to do is you'll need to go through the first 10 stages of the item worlds to upgrade a weapon. And then you'll have to equip that weapon to unlock one of the stages. You don't actually have to use the weapon, so it can just be something you could. I just used the common sword that's given to you for the purpose of upgrading. The item world is pretty simple. It basically loads a stage much like this. There's a few enemies on it, and then there's a kind of like a gate to the next stage. You can either kill all the enemies to move on to the next stage, or you can just move towards the gate, kill the enemy that's standing in the gate, and then just enter the gate to move on. Now, if you use the common sword that's given to you, the enemies are going to be fairly low level. The higher grade of the weapon is when you're going to start seeing higher level characters off the start. The item world in total has 30 stages. I think it's every 10 you're able to back out without using any sort of item. But if you do have to back out for any reason, you do get there are items to exit. I think they're called Mr. Jenny exits or something like that. So you have to use those to get out at any moment. There are also quite a few events that'll go on there. I know there's like pirates and something about. I don't really understand the whole innocence versus weapon path. I know the weapon path will probably upgrade your weapon faster, but that's typically only useful for, I guess, later on in the game when you have your high-ranking weapons, because you're pretty much early on in the game, you're going to be switching weapons pretty frequently. I know I've swapped weapons for each of my characters pretty much at least a couple times an episode as I unlocked more. There's always more powerful crap to be bought or found. So, and then with that point, the innocence is supposed to be something that kind of carries over, but I still don't completely understand what it is. Alright, so I guess at this point we've kind of cleared out pretty much all the enemies. As you can see there's the two enemies with the axe, and then that forgotten gunner. Just go up to them and surround them, take them all out. She does have a 25% weakness to fire, so that'll be something useful to take into account. One thing you should be aware of too, depending on the angle of the camera, it can kind of look like enemies are closer than they actually are. So you'll want to kind of just spin your camera around every so often just to make sure that the enemy is where you think they are. So another aspect to this game that's worth noting, the stores, it's actually worth purchasing a lot of equipment rather than just finding it. There is like a customer and a product bar or a product level, I think. So you'll want to get those up for, I guess, better equipment. So you can do that if you don't want to keep all the crap that you won't use. You can just buy stuff and then sell it and get half the money back that you spent on it, or hell as they call it.
Crap! They beat up all the prisoners! Well, young master, sir, I'm gonna go prepare for the next battle now. See ya!
Hey! Lord and Axel!
Skull? You're free to use whatever tactics you so please, as long as you always keep your promise. If the prisoners are able to successfully defeat us, you better keep your promise and grant them pardons. You got that?
What the hell are you talking about? Why do you care about a promise that can only be kept if you die? Are you okay?
That's my lord's strength and weakness. You have no right to judge him.
You got that, Rascal? Keep that promise you made. You will learn the true weight of a promise. Severe pain.
Severe pain? What are you gonna do to me?
I will do nothing. However, you will feel it in your heart.
Oh, what the hell do you mean by that? You're like totally whack.
Hey, why are you so obsessed with keeping promises? Did something happen in your past or something?
Intruding on someone's personal issues. As expected of a human. After all, you are creatures of egotism.
Oh, come on. I'm just curious.
Mind your own business.
Ugh, what's your problem?
Let's go. Our priority now is to restore order to this place. That is my duty as a Prinny instructor.
No, I believe that is beyond your scope of responsibilities as a Prinny instructor. But I approve of this plan, since it would bring positive results. All is for my lord.
Phew. I've almost reached the target amount. This is all for the Lady Archangel who supports me, even if it is against the will of Celestia. And to stop him.
There they are! The Prinny instructor and his allies! Let's kill them and gain our freedom at last!
You guys want freedom that badly? Well, what are you gonna do once you're free?
Get revenge, of course, against the Corruptorment for putting us in Hades.
If you commit a crime, you go to Hades. You want to get revenge for your own mistake? Your desire is born of nothing but ignorance.
No! We did the right thing! But the Corruptorment...
Ooh, what was that? What happened?
We didn't do anything wrong. We were only planting fears in the minds of humans. We made them fear the darkness, midnight, and gave them nightmares. That's all we did!
But those are bad things.
No. Planting fear in humans is an exemplary action for all demons. By doing so, humans learn respect, begin to live conservatively, and keep their world in order. It's an essential part of keeping a healthy relationship between demons and humans. It's the secret to keeping the universe in order.
Huh? I didn't know demons played such a role. That's cool.
But putting hard-working demons in Hades? What is the Corruptorment's true endgame?
Endgame. Never mind that. The true travesty is that these guys are being imprisoned under false charges.
So, are we gonna fight them even though they're innocent?
Well, that's a different story. They are demons, after all. We always prove our points through violence.
Alright, so stage 2 is a fairly easy one. As you can see, there's 4... It's basically a cross with 4 enemies at each corner. Basically, the enemies will move closer as long as you're in range with them. So if you get out of range of at least 3 of them, they'll leave you alone. So you can just kind of bum rush one side and you should be fine. I kind of split up and go 2 sides at once. And one thing to note is I believe there is an experience and a mana boost panels on these maps as well. So this is another one of those level grinding maps. The red ones look like they're the 50% experience. The green ones I think do treasure. So it's either going to be the blue or the yellow that does the mana. Which it might be worth trying out going down to the bottom locations first rather than the sides. So I know those mages are kind of dangerous. And even the gargoyles, when they do that stupid what's it called? That blade slam or whatever, where they fly up in the air and they slam down on you. It does quite a bit of damage as well. So I think with my last 3, that's probably where I start sending some guys down. Firefly, I think I'll keep up there. I think I do end up bringing Cassie into this, and I think I send her down. That might be next turn though. Able to take out a couple enemies with that turn. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take them all. I missed with the gargoyle on the initial attack, and somehow the one enemy over there where the sardine thief is managed to hang in there. So it looks like I just okay. Yeah, I just didn't execute instead of a... So I will be able to take out the messenger with my healer. Like I mentioned in the previous video, that this is where something like that kind of works out in your favor, where you use the execute rather than the end turn, because there is able to reassess, I guess, which enemies survived, and I could send in additional troops if needed. I mean, I could have even summoned, I still had 2 more, I guess, troops that I could have brought into the game from the base panel, and that would have helped as well. I do recommend always don't always use the full amount of characters that you can use in a match. I find that, I mean, you can always quit if you get down to 1. The one benefit of keeping 1 there is if everybody dies, you still have the 1 guy in there, and you don't lose. So since you haven't lost yet, you can go to the main menu. You can quit and you can hit retry. Go to the main menu or back to base, and you can retry after that. If you happen to lose, though, I've never actually lost in something like this. I've kind of only lost in the final stages. Once to Death and Measle, and once in Chapter 5 to... I don't know if I want to spoil it, but we'll just say the boss of that one as well. And it ends the game right away, and you get some sort of alternate ending. So I don't know if there's an alternate ending for every single stage if you lose, or if it's just for those specific bosses. I might have lost to Fuka once as well. I can't recall. I might have squeaked through that one though. So as you can see here, the mages are starting to move forward, and they did pretty decent damage to my slime monster, and he died. I mean, obviously, he's probably the closest to the actual level of the enemies here. So you'll want to, keep your guys all together, and you want to outnumber all the enemies.
Ready for me?
And like I mentioned before, I'm kind of doing two sides at once. You could focus on one at a time, and that might help you. So now we're gonna head over and try and deal with some of these mages. Unfortunately, I am not able to take them all out in one turn. I think I do end up taking one of them out, but another one survives. Well, one on each side survives. I'm going to attack all of them, even the gargoyle. It definitely would have been a much more efficient battle if I attacked. I had several characters attack each enemy, rather than just going one at a time. Another thing worth noting is your character can pretty much, if you move your character, you can continue moving them. You won't be able to move them. Like if you move forward into one of the directions, obviously you can't move further than what it shows there, but you can always move back and move into the other directions that were available. You just won't be able to gain any extra squares, kind of thing. So if you do attack and he doesn't actually attack the enemy, you're always able to move the character to another location and adjust your strategy for them. Only I don't do that. I kind of just wing it. It's worth keeping note of what characters are weak to what. You can always look at even your characters, because you can assess the weaknesses and strength of the characters that you have and deploy based on that to give your group an advantage. I kind of just go with whatever I want, the guys that I want to level up. So I'm not obviously doing it the most efficient way, which is probably why I've lost 2-3 times already. I don't focus on what matters. So Now we're just gonna clean up the remaining enemies. The mages are almost dead. The gargoyle's almost dead. One thing I'll do in future videos is I'm gonna update the names of all the characters and I'll make them into a more broccoli experience. I'm sure you can kind of guess to what that means, so I won't. But if not, I'm not gonna spoil it. So now we will, I guess, move on to the next stage.
Pardon me, Mr. President.
Has the rebellion in Hades been put down?
No, actually.
What now? Speak up.
Yes, sir. We have received a letter from the rebel force. As you can see, it's written with words that I couldn't possibly say out loud. I'd like to obtain your official sanction to
Eliminate them. They must all be wiped from existence.
Are you certain of this?
Are you going to make me repeat myself?
Understood. Your words shall be carried out to the rest of the Netherworld.
Sighing so deeply. You're more depressed than usual.
Oh, it's you.
Hey, you don't have to look so upset. We're supposed to support each other, right?
What are you doing here today?
Remember our conversation? I came to get that thing, as promised.
It is ready to go. It's all yours.
Thanks. If you insist.
Okay, so this is stage 3. This is a bit of a tricky one. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to bring out your like maybe 6 or 7 characters. The one thing about this one is you don't really have too much space. You want to avoid the green geopanels because they are going to damage your characters. I think they inflict like 20% damage. So obviously you'll want your healer here. If you have characters that have a large amount of range on them, like a gunner who can attack from pretty far away, they'll be useful in this one as well. I don't know if there's really anything you can do about those green panels. As you can see here, I was hovering over the other geo blocks that are there, and they all just say 20% damage. But at the same time, I did do a level that was later on that's had the same thing with the no entry, and destroying that block kind of got rid of it. So I'm not really too sure if changing the color might change anything, but in this video I don't. So anyways, the strategy for this one is going to be to get the guys that you're going to use out here on that small tower, and then you can destroy that green geoblock, because you're going to need the pillar, and if you stand on the block you'll take damage. I did learn that the hard way on my first playthrough. So you'll kind of want to do what I'm doing here, and you'll want to lure some of the enemies towards you. The benefit of this is they're going to be on the green panels, so they will take the damage. So the goal here is just to kind of sit back, get a bunch of the enemies to come to you, and then once they're done, you can kind of start exploring outwards. So you will have to probably go up to the pig with the club. I should really learn what the actual names are for that. You're gonna have to go up beside him on the left side because he's not gonna come towards you. So I will end up doing that later. You'll kind of the best thing you do is kind of keep note of the I guess they're orcs. Keep note of the weaknesses and then exploit them. Unfortunately for me on this, I don't really. I kind of like to save my mana. I'm the kind of person that always hoards everything and never uses it. It's the same with like Indian currency as well. I always hoard it and never spend it in the shops. But if you can get yourself maybe like a red skull, blue skull, green skull, you can utilize those and exploit all the weaknesses here. But at the same time, your Val and Fenrich, they should be able to wreck things easily. I know for me, they were kind of my go-to characters. They were the ones that always ended up finishing off those, finishing off enemies and getting tons of experience. Which is why these monster characters are kind of on the weaker side. So now that we're starting to get these guys weaker, we're going to start branching out. While we're speaking about branching out, the other thing about, I guess, your character selection here, you want to choose the ones that are the most mobile, like the ones that can move the most among squares. So that'll be really helpful in this level because you're going to have to move from from pillar to pillar, kind of, so you avoid taking damage. So we'll go ahead, we'll take care of that bug, and we'll take care of the orc as well. Luckily, I have that gunner, so I'm able to do some damage from a distance. But I am going to send, I think it's my sardine thief over there. So as you can see there, I have the Sith. I might just start referring to all my characters by name, but then you might not know what they are. Yeah, so as you can see, the Sith, its mobility is kind of shit, so it's pretty useless in this one. I think after this initial battle, and we start branching out, I send it back, because it's not very useful to me. But I know I do utilize the gargoyle, the messenger, sardine thief, gunner, as well as my acolyte. Alright, so we've taken care of all the enemies. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start, we'll send like 3 guys northward, towards, I believe there's a gargoyle there, and a lion or cheetah with an axe. I know in previous videos I called it cheetah, but it's possible it might be a lion. Anyways, you'll send 3 guys there. Usually I send the acolyte with them as well, or the acolyte being one of the 3. And then I will send the rest of them to the left. I don't know if I'm sending 3, but you probably only need 2. There's not a lot of room around here. As you can see here, I'm just slowly moving pillar to pillar. I don't know if I have Cassie out there, but I don't think she has the mobility to be useful in this one. So what we're going to, by moving the Sardine Thief there, the Orc is going to come down and attack. That's why I put it in defense. We'll absorb some of the damage, and then what I can do there is, well, I'll get a bunch of counterattacks as well onto it, and then I'll be moving my gunner to that corner pillar. Oh, I guess it's not the Orc, it's the messenger that goes. Either way. Well, I guess it's a little different because I don't get those counterattacks, but basically what's going to happen is I'm going to use my gunner to attack from a distance, and then my Sardine Thief. Well, if it survived, it would have attacked it, but it didn't, so we need to work with that. So we'll probably just end up moving the Sardine Thief closer to the Orc at this point. Yeah, as you can see here, like I mentioned before, Cassie doesn't have the mobility to get around. So we'll end up using Pengu, the Gargoyle, and the Messenger, as well as the Acolyte on the left side. For some reason I'm sending Cody too, but he's not going to do anything. So unfortunately there, my Messenger takes pretty heavy damage. The Orc came down to attack the Sardine Thief, like I mentioned before, so I guess I was right about that. It was just a turn off. So obviously we're going to want to heal the Messenger at this point. And then the Gargoyles, they have no resistances, so you might as well use the fire move on them. Obviously I'm entrusting my Pretty to take out the middle Gargoyle. With some counterattacks, which is great. So we're going to have to absorb a little bit of damage from the Gargoyles, and it looks like one of them gets killed by the Geo panel. And then we'll just finish the other one off with my Prinny. At this point I think I'm just ignoring the useless characters that I'm not using. I should just throw them back in the base, but so now we're gonna come up on the lion / cheetah, whatever you want to call it. So I don't believe it actually moves towards me. Oh, there we go. I sent Cassie back. Sardine Thief up. That'll probably attract the attention of the other Gargoyle. Maybe the lion / cheetah as well. Yeah, so it gets the attention of both of them. Just the counter damage, which is pretty good. So we'll be able to take out the lion / cheetah, whatever you want to call it, this turn. What we are going to do is we're going to put the messenger on the left side of the tower. I'm not going to have the range to attack it from where it currently is. That at the same turn, so there we'll use the fire attack, it's not going to kill it, obviously. We're going to try and do some more damage with the gargoyle. Unfortunately, spoiler alert, it's still not going to get killed. Actually, I don't even... Oh, I guess I can't reach it. Never mind. And we'll see if we can take out the gargoyle with my gunner. Sardine Thief takes out the lion/cheetah. Imagine it's not even one of those, it's some other animal. Like a hyena or a link or something like that. Alright, so obviously that thing's gonna get pissed off and it's gonna attack my messenger. My messenger's gonna be a little weak. Gonna send my acolyte over to soothe its pain. I will attack with my messenger. I don't... Oh, I guess I do kill it. I'm a little surprised that it did that much damage. Well, there you have it. That's the end of stage 3. We'll move on to, I guess, stage 4.
There you are! These guys are 1.5 times more brutal than those earlier ones. Get ready now, guys. You're only one step away from receiving your pardons.
Do as you wish. However, those are innocent prisoners who were put in Hades by the Corruptiment, right? How is it fair to use them by bribing them with pardons? Can you live with yourself?
They're not innocent. They were convicted by the Corruptiment. They're nothing but criminals.
What did you say? We're innocent.
We were just being demons. The Corruptiment just came up with some bullshit excuse and imprisoned us.
Then consider what you're doing. You're dealing with the Corruptiment, who turned you into criminals in the first place. Don't you think it's foolish to trust them to keep their promise? What do you say? Shall we join forces?
Join forces?
Realizing the current state of our rotten Corruptiment, my lord here has stepped up to take over the regime.
Take over the regime? He's planning to defeat my father and take over the Corruptiment?
You are?
I am?
Why do you sound so surprised? Didn't you know all about this?
Of course he wasn't aware of this. I decided this for my own discretion. My lord proclaimed that he would beat the president and the Corruptiment into shape, so I came up with my own plan of action. What my lord must do, I must also do. What I must do, my lord must also do. In other words, we are as one. That being said, there's no problem with me making any of his decisions for him.
Indeed, as expected of you, Fenrir. It's quite considerate of you to come up with such an ambitious agenda for us.
All is for my lord.
So, what kind of relationship do you two have again? Starting to seem pretty creepy.
So, what do you say, prisoners? When we usurp this regime, you shall all be granted ranks and positions suitable to your service.
Usurping the regime? Who'd believe in such dreamy nonsense?
Whoa, whoa, hey now, this is my dream. Mine! Where I become the president of the Netherworld.
Enough of this! My father would never be defeated by you peons!
He's right. How could a lowly prince
ever get what you want by giving up so easily? You see, this is why you're all nothing but side characters.
So what? Why don't you show us what you got?
Yeah, that's right. We'll decide whether we want to join you after that.
As you wish. I'll show you what I've got. The power of sardines!
Aside from that, please just prove to them that you have enough power to usurp the regime.
Alright, so this is stage 4. So as you can see, it's a pretty symmetrical map. Each side is basically the exact same. The big difference is going to be on the left side. You're going to see mages and mage monsters. On the right side, you're going to see gunners and messengers, or maybe the lower form of messengers, I can't recall. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to focus on the left side. I know I did a couple of playthroughs of this, and the mages did give me a bit of trouble. I did do one where I tried to split and do both sides at once, and it didn't really turn out too well. It usually comes to, it's not so much of the gargoyles, they're pretty easy to dispatch. The mages and the gunners are pretty damage heavy, and those bowwomen are pretty dangerous as well, because they have one specific move where they shoot arrows into the ground. It creates a hole, and I guess your character falls in and there's an explosion or something. So that does a lot of damage too. So I've just been going, I just tried it this way again. It turns out okay. I had better what's it called? Better runs. Yeah, so as an option, you can, as you see, there's 3 geo blocks there. You can manipulate the panels. Like right now, I probably could have just grabbed with one character a green block, threw it, picked it up with another one, threw it onto the red panel, and then destroyed it again. I'm not going to actually do that. What did we do? I believe the green one, it reduces the attack by 50%. To me, it doesn't really seem too urgent. The red one has 50% defense, which after I take care of these gargoyles, I'm going to move my guys into that range, so I'm going to take advantage of what's there already. So as you can see, I just was able to take out one. I didn't have the mobility to get to the second one to take it out or attack it at all. And you can see the gargoyles on the right are coming towards us. It could be worth having some guy maybe doing the split at first. Take care of those gargoyles that are coming down, maybe the bowwoman as well, and then kind of focus everybody on the other side as well. Actually, I'm kind of thinking, yeah, it might just be. Yeah, here's that move that I was talking about. It's gonna do some damage to my gunner, and then not this one, but the other gargoyle is going to use that move on my gunner and take it out. This is where having somebody on the other side probably would have protected the gunner, for instance. And that gunner probably would have helped me a lot with the mages. I could probably attack it right from that area too. So, all in all, this is probably going to be a very poor showing. But spoiler alerts, it is still successful. Though, again, my characters are... well, I guess they're not really that high of a level anymore. I think maybe Cassie is a bit... my lady fighter is pretty up there in level, and my Prinny is pretty high. Anyways, my strategy for this is to kind of push my way into the red Geo panel and just kind of huddle there for the defense bonus and take out as much as I can. It's not ideal to stay there forever, because while you do have that defense bonus, those gunners and the mages will still come at you, and they'll attack you, and you can't really attack them unless you're aggressive with them. So once we're, I think we are done with all the enemies there. So what I will do here is I'll try and lure that one mage into the green Geo panel. Now that's going to reduce the attack by 50%. Now the thing is, I don't know if that actually affects the mage, because the way that the mage works is their attack is kind of determined by their, I think it's intelligence and hit, or maybe it's intelligence and speed. It's one of those two. It's similar to the gunman. They'll have it'll be hit and speed, which is their damage attribute. So I don't know for sure if that those panels will affect the mages, because I don't know if it goes by the character's actual attributes or just by damage output. I'm hoping it's damage output, and I'm going to play as such. So the more that I think about it, I am going to recommend that you probably split up your team and just do... I think you get 8 people per stage, so do 4 and 4. The only downside of that is, like, at least in my situation, I only have the one healer, so obviously that's going to cause a bit of an issue. What you can do is maybe separate Val and Fenric. Those guys have the most mobility. They'll probably be your main 2 guys, and they'll probably be your strongest. They got the most mobility, so you could probably get around pretty quickly with them. And I'm sure they got pretty good defense as well. So you should be able to kind of utilize them. Fuka will be able to do pretty high damage as well. So other than that, you'd probably want to at least create a lady fighter, kind of like I did as well, or maybe some other fighter. Actually, Narcissus or whatever his name is, you could use him heal. He does pretty good damage as a fighter. So yeah, you could split those 4 up. Send the acolyte with, maybe keep the acolytes kind of near the bottom so it can kind of support any character that needs health. You can move them down, and then maybe another if you can get, I guess, some sort of ranged character, that could be beneficial as well. guess whatever you want to use is the last. Choose whatever. As you can see, I was able to dispatch the one mage there. This is kind of where things go a little bit sideways. The mage is going to do a bit of damage to the three, well, not all three, but I believe the messenger takes a lot of damage here. I can't recall if it actually gets killed. It might. But those, the gun women over there are going to be a pain in my ass because even though they're all the way on the other side, they have the range to shoot my people. So I'm going to start sending some people over there. And that is actually not going to work out in my favor either. They're going to do some significant damage. You see there, Cody takes a huge amount of damage. Some decent damage is done to my Red Skull. So my healer is there, so I'll be able to heal it. Heal the Red Skull at least. I will still try to use the fire move. I'll use it on the bow woman over there, and then I will send my pretty there and my sardine thief. What I'll do is I'll put her into the base, and then I'll take her out of the base, and then I'll attack from there. So I have 3 characters attacking. There's probably a good chance she will die. I'm hoping it'll be before the sardine thief attacks, because then I can move her somewhere else. So obviously I have a very weak Soothith right there, and I don't really know if I have the ability to heal. Just take them out pretty quickly. So, as you can see, both those Red Skulls over there are pretty weak, but they're gonna get the, I guess, first jump on me. Because I finished off the bowwoman before my sardine thief attacked, I'm able to move it and I can attack a different character instead. Actually, the sardine thief is probably one of my favorite characters to use. Has a large mobility range. It still does quite a bit of damage, and it also has it seems to counter hit a lot, like multiple times, and like I find when I get hit once, it'll attack twice. Unfortunately, I think its defense might be a little weak, so here it's destroyed. I guess that's to be expected when you have 3 people shooting at it. So now pretty much have on the left side 2 weak characters and my gargoyle. Obviously the Red Skulls are pretty weak too, so I'll be able to, I should be fine, assuming I don't miss. So I'm going to move my Red Skull and try and get into range of one of the gunmen. I am not able to, so I have to kind of figure something else out. Even with my Prinny, I'm not able to do anything, so I send them over there to defend. That's probably not going to turn out well. Okay. I was able to take out the one Red Skull, and now it's pretty much going to come down to whether or not my messenger hits with the fire move. It does, so we're all clear on the left side, and it's just the 3 gunners left. At this point, I'm getting a little desperate, so I'm sending Val in. I'm not even really sure why I took him out. Probably could have took someone that was more closer to, I guess, their level. I got lucky here and none of them attacked for whatever reason. I will send the Prinny to attack the weak gunner. I think my Prinny is able to take it out. My Red Skull will be able to damage one of them, and Val will probably wreck another one. I mean, at this point, I'm pretty certain that I've got it won. So, but at the same time, I'm still gonna continue trying to heal all my guys. That it'll just save me the trip after the game's over. Actually, maybe not, because I had people die, so I'll have to do it anyway. But you also want to watch out for those green panels as well, because that reduced my healing as well. For some reason Val missed, but he got him on the counterattack. Try to finish the gunner off with the Red Skull, but just in case, I'm going to send the Gargoyle. My Red Skull is successful, and that's the end of stage 4. I'm going to cut the video short here, as it's getting a little long, so we're going to split it into 2. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in part 2.
No way! Even though our powers are being restrained, we're still former overlords.
How could a mere pretty instructor possess so much power?
Don't be so surprised. Who do you think the man who stands before you is? Being a Prinny instructor was just a disguise. He is Lord Valvatores, formerly known as the Tyrant who enthralled all humanity within the depths of fear.
Tyrant Valvatores, the bloodthirsty king of fear.
You mean the blood-soaked Valvatores of absolute evil? The king of carnage and atrocity?
I'd almost forgotten about all those old aliases. Those are cute.
Huh? I didn't know you were so famous around here. Hey, wait a second! Don't try to steal the spotlight in my dream!
Tyrant Valvatores? I thought he was just a printing instructor. I can't believe it. I never would have imagined my childhood hero had become a printing instructor.
I heard he went missing after he lost all his power. I didn't know he was still around. Usurping the regime. He might actually be able to pull it off.
Wait, there's still no proof that he's the real Valvatores. I mean, sure, he showed us his power, but...
This is bad. Nobody told me he was such a big fish. He didn't put that on his resume when he was applying for the pretty instructor position. He's a fraud. What are you gonna do, Warden Axel? Should you go along with him, or should you keep sucking up to the corruptment?
Hey, we can hear you.
Warden Axel, are you gonna betray me?
Please, young master, you're just hearing things. We made a vow to each other as comrades. Why would I ever betray you? To prove it, I've got one last ace up my sleeve, in case of an emergency.
this way, young master?
Wait! I hope he's not thinking about releasing the seal of the Forbidden Chamber!
The Forbidden Chamber? He better not! If he releases that monster, this place, no! The entire Netherworld will be destroyed!
Well, they scattered like birds. I've heard about the occupant of the Forbidden Chamber, but how bad can it be?
It must be pretty bad if all those brutal criminals are scared of it. I'm kinda excited!
No monster or beast can stop me. Since I seem to have a new goal, total regime usurpation!